I think the 60s was probably the best of the music of any of the decades, even better than the 50s, in my opinion, because all of a sudden, the disorganized but yet raucous recordings from the 50s became organized in the 60s, and then the 70s just dressed them up. But what happened was the most formative musically, and I think that everything, you can almost trace it back to the 60s. You know, it became so kind of definitive.
Do you think, and certainly a few people have said this to me already, there is an argument that because it was new and so new, and there was only so many places, obviously you guys could shop for clothing, and I've heard many stories about things like people turning up for a photo shoot and being told, that's a great shirt, I'd love to do you in it, but I did Townsend in that one yesterday. Was there a bit of that going on?
There was. I came from a provincial area in North Wales, quite, should we say, protected from what London had to offer. So when we first came down to London, in my band, the Elastic Band, we were kind of a little bit out of touch when we first started to, do things, but we soon caught up very, very quickly. And I have to say, Carnaby Street at that time, there were guys who you could walk in the morning and pick something up in the afternoon that they had individually done for you. But we were trying to go down the route of the kind of hippie American bands where there was a fair bit of leather. I mean, I think Roger Daltrey was wearing the stranded chamois leathers and things like this. This was the area, headbands, that kind of stuff that we were moving in. Whereas there were other bands that were definitely picking up the old military jackets off the shelf and that kind of thing. And I think Sweet, right at the end of the 60s, were falling between two stools. I don't think, this was just before I joined the band, I don't think they knew exactly what they wanted to be or do. And remember, pop music was this big melange of vegetable soup. Anything could have happened.